Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derbies and the 2016 Bash for Cash. Demo Derby Masters. Winter Slam 2016. Ultimate Derby and Blizzard Bash in Capital City Carnage. Syopa Racing and SyopaRacing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, welcome to episode number 157 of the Crash Course podcast. It's going to be a fun one. Got Jason Koch joining us here to talk a little bit about the Tim Tygart Memorial. We'll bring him in a moment. Just a couple of quick items of note. We turned in the preliminary guest list for New Year's Eve today, and then we're gonna meet with them again tomorrow. I happened to get an email from them, so we traded some information today. The lineup is stacking up impressive. Found out over the weekend, and I'm very happy to hear that Brandon Tyson is going to be making the trip in from Iowa, and he is loading the van full. So if anybody is looking to travel from the Midwest and wants to drive in, you can probably hook up to the Caravan. He's got a line of cars coming with him. Brandon's been a very, very good friend of ours for a long, long time now, and I guess he's got a couple other surprises up his sleeves with some of the folks that he's going to be bringing along with him. We're going to be talking with let me get that muted so that we don't have to listen to that go on the whole show. Also, going to be talking next week with Aaron Bunce. Aaron Bunce is going to come on and talk a little bit about the Shocker, Catskill Fabrication and Performance, putting together the battery box and the tanks that are going to be inside the car, fuel tank, oil cooler, things along those lines. Aaron was going to be on this week, but he is down in the Carolinas right now, so obviously he wasn't going to make it back in time to be on the show with us, so he's going to be joining us next week. And then we had lined up Aaron Savage. Aaron Savage has been in conversation back and forth with us for the last several weeks talking about lawnmower derbies and basically the dumpsters on wheels and how elaborate those lawnmowers have come to be. He was scheduled to be here with us tonight, and I got a message from him earlier this morning that his baby was born, so congratulations to him. He's enjoying the company of his new little one, so he's going to be on next week as well, which brings us back around full circle to where we are this week. Hopefully everybody had a great holiday. All the hunters hopefully had some good luck in the woods. I saw Pete Hansen landed a killer-sized buck. That's where Brian is right now. He's out in the woods down in Jeremy Gully's neck of the woods. So he, I don't know if he had any luck or not, but hopefully all you guys had safe ventures into the woods and happy Thanksgiving. The Tim Tygart Memorial, the Turkey Derby, was held over the weekend, and that brings us to Jason Koch, who was out there as part of that. Sounded like it was a good show, and seemed like everybody had a pretty good time with it front to back. Tell us a little bit about how the show went, Jason.
Everything went absolutely outstanding, Chris. I couldn't possibly be happier. We had a great turnout, cars, fans. I mean, support was great. Everybody, really kicked into all the, donations and raffle stuff. And I mean, we raised a good chunk of change for the cause, and we did really well. I was extremely happy with how everything went. Extremely fast-paced, hard-hitting show from start to finish. So I was really happy. Some
of the most impressive feedback that I got was that a lot of people don't remember the last time they saw that many cars built that hard on the track at the same time, driving as hard as they were.
Yeah, that was definitely true. I mean, there was 40 plus cars in the Pro Mod feature, and when we went green, they went nuts. And I mean, they did. I mean, everybody did all day long, but I mean, the Pro Mod guys, and I mean, they just went nuts the whole feature. I mean, Trace Braun and Eccles, a couple other guys, just absolutely nuts the whole time.
Does Trace have anything left of the car? He said that was I saw him posting on Facebook, on social media, that was the last time out for that car. And did he have anything to bring home?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Trace Braun, I was following along with the Brauns on Facebook because they were getting their cars together. I was just kind of Facebook stalking them. I don't think they were aware that I was watching what was going on, but I saw they had a picture of the car up on the trailer and said that this weekend was going to be the last run for that particular car, and I was just wondering if he had anything to bring home after the Derby was over with. Was it really the last tour for that one? Pretty finished off.
I think it's fixable.
Really?
It was definitely hurt. It was doing some pretty crazy stuff in the back. I mean, the front of it, the only thing missing from it is a turret. But I mean, that car is an absolutely nasty tank from start to finish. But yeah, I mean, if I know Trace, I'm sure he'll fix it and take it somewhere. I mean, he's had many last runs on many cars.
Right. Yeah, it's the last run, then next time's the last run, and then next time's the last run, all with the same car.
Right.
It was a young man from Michigan that came away with the win in that class, correct?
Yeah, Dave Myers from Michigan won the Pro Mod, and he absolutely just climbed up on the wheel at the end of the night and got it done. I mean, anybody that knows Dave knows that if you're going to beat him, you're really going to have to tighten your chin strap, your seatbelt, and have your shit together. And he got up on the wheel and got it done. He was, he was outpowered. I mean, Hickman, he's got a monster of a car and monster horsepower, and Dave just, got up on the wheel and got it done. I mean, it was a hell of a battle. Hickman had Dave pinned in a couple times. Dave got Hickman pinned in a couple times, and he got him held down and made him dig a hole trying to get loose. And then, he wrapped him up that way. So it was a hell of a battle.
How about the other classes that were in competition through the course of the day? There was 6 or 7 different divisions that ran through the course of the day. You guys had a good turnout for all of those front to back, given how late in the year this was and weather didn't particularly play against you, but it didn't help you any either. It was pretty chilly out there. You had a pretty good turnout for your crowd. How about the other divisions?
I was extremely impressed. We didn't have what I would call a underachiever division. I mean, every class had, 20 plus cars. The heavy mod trucks were the lowest one at like 12, but man, they put on a monster show. I mean, those guys sounded like pulling trucks going at it the whole time. I mean, I don't think there was a truck on the track that had less than 500 horsepower, and I mean, they were just absolutely ear piercing the whole time, and just it was an absolute slam fest.
That's awesome.
The light trucks went at it real hard. The light, the Joker class light well cars went at it super hard. I mean, everybody. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. I mean, I think that's the whole roar of everybody you hear talking. It's just amazing that everybody took the track to make junk. I mean, there was nobody that pulled out there and just drove around. I mean, every single class we ran from the time we started the Power Wheels at the beginning of the night to the time, we waved the checkered flag for Dave Myers at the end of the night. I mean, it was just nuts. Every single class was just absolutely slamming.
Is Dave the guy that finished second or third at the Bash for Cash this year?
Yes, and he's also the guy that won the last Turkey Derby that Tim put on. So,
how about that?
He is no stranger to the winner's circle. If you don't know Dave Myers, you should do your homework and learn Dave Myers, because he is definitely a legend of the sport in the Midwest.
That's cool. That's got to be a meaningful one for him too, to come away with that win. After he was the guy that won the last one that Tim had put on.
Yeah, it was definitely a near and dear thing to him. I mean, he wanted it real bad, and he acted like it at the end of the night. You could tell he wanted it. Of course, Dave's a winner. He always wants it. We say, winners win, and that's how it works. And he definitely wanted it.
That was one of the things that Wendell Bowman, I was talking with him about the weekend earlier in the day, and he said that you can just watch a guy early, and you can just tell that night's his night. You can go to pretty much any derby anywhere you go, and Ben can do the same thing. You can just pick this guy out, whoever it might be, and just say, you know what, I can tell you right now that this guy's going to be there at the end. And he was talking about that being the case with the Pro Mod feature. That early on, he had Myers pegged to be the guy that was going to be there at the end, and sure enough, as you said, he didn't have all the cards falling in his favor, but he still came away with the win, and that's the driver. I mean, you got to be able to do that to get wins. Simple as that.
Yeah, and then that's the thing with Dave. I mean, if you know him, if his car is even remotely holding together, he's going to be there at the end of the night. Because I mean, the man just doesn't make mistakes. I mean, he has a world full of haters in the Midwest because he just wins and wins and wins, and he picks guys apart. He won the exact same way the last 2 turkey derbies. I mean, both times he was way outgunned car-wise, and he's just so meticulous and so patient, and just, waits till the right moment and sees you, make the slightest little mistake, and he capitalizes on it. I mean, I've watched him, I grew up watching him run. He's, we're pretty close together in age, and, we've had a lot of fun over the years, but I've watched him pick many, many, many people apart. I've watched him pick myself apart.
How about for you? Is this something that you're going to stay involved with? Is this going to be a recurring thing? Something that you're going to continue to do over the coming years?
Oh yeah, it's we're definitely in for the long haul. We're definitely going to keep doing it. I promised Haley Tygart that we would keep it going in her dad's memory, and she didn't know until the end of the night that the fundraiser was for her education. But that's something that we're going to continue to do year after year, and we're definitely in for the long haul, and we're see just how big we can make it.
I know you're a details guy, and you focus on every little thing, and you strike me as a guy who comes back quick to find the flaws and stuff that didn't go the way that you wanted it to go. Have you already begun looking back at the way the weekend was and spots that you're going to improve on, and anything that you're going to be doing different?
Just little things, as far as our layout at the fairgrounds and that kind of stuff. Just little things that, didn't really cross our minds that we can control better, make the flow better, make it easier for guys to know where to come in and how to come in and that sort of thing. I mean, as part, and I almost wasn't going to bring this up, Chris, but I'm going to, just because I'm freaking mad about it.
Okay.
There was so many people. We didn't set the gate, the entrance up to where you had to pay to come in the gate. You had to come to the tent to pay once you got on the grounds, just because the way the weather was, the area where you would normally collect coming in was just flooded out. So we had to shift everything around to make the fairgrounds work for us. And we really thought, being a benefit deal, that everybody would, be honest and come to the tent and, do their due diligence and pay their way and support the cause.
Sure.
But they didn't. I know we had at least 300 people, probably more, that never did come to the tent and pay their entry and just watched from outside the fence, because there was a fence along the back side of the track where you could watch. So, I mean, if you tried to come into the grandstands, we were there to check and make sure. And we had guys that were going out trying to check and get everybody riled in, but you know how that works.
Sure.
You stop, you tell a guy he's got to go pay, he goes, okay, and you walk to the next guy, and he never leaves the fence. So I was really disappointed in the fact that, it was a benefit deal to benefit a young girl, and people knew what they were there for and took advantage of a bad situation. But
well,
that's really the only bad thing I have to say about the whole weekend. I was extremely happy with the way things went. I was just extremely disappointed in the fact that there were that many people that said, hey, I get to watch this without paying. And, Mark Elliott tried really hard across the PA system to get people to do the right thing and explain to them, hey, you guys know why you're here, do the right thing, come in, pay. And some did, don't get me wrong. I mean, there were, after he made that announcement, we took in another couple $100 for the people that did come up and do the right thing. But there were just so many that did, and that was heartbreaking for me, just because we were so all into the whole thing to make it work and to make it work for Haley, to have people that were purposely, breaking that cycle, that was heartbreaking. But outside of that, I mean, the weekend was awesome.
And you mentioned the flooding in the ticket area. It's one thing that you can't control is the weather. The crew did such a great job bringing the track back around.
Yeah, I cannot say enough for the track crew. Those guys, we had 2 weekends involved in putting the track together. We went there the first weekend to try to set everything up, and it had rained like 8 inches the Friday night before we got there. And, we tried to move the blocks out the best we could. We set the size of the track so I could get the advertised so people would know what they were coming to. But we just could only do so much dirt work because it was mud work.
Right.
And, we could just, we were so limited. And then we went back the weekend of the show. I get in town on Thursday, and it's, Wednesday, it just poured and poured. They got like 3 inches of rain. we get over there, there's water standing everywhere, and the guys just went to work, and all day Friday, half the night, it was 1:45 when we finally got the track done enough to take a nap and come back Saturday and finish it up. But John Eder and Roger Kendall and Corey Koch and Micah Koch and Kevin Tingle and the entire Glassburn family, Nick Glassburn and Corey Glassburn, the world famous pork chop. I mean, his mom knew him as Christopher Kyle Polly, but he's pork chop to those of us in the Derby world. He basically lived there for the entire time with me getting it done. I mean, no way it could have been done without the crew that I had. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, you did a wonderful job. You did a wonderful job." The thing I did right was I had the right people in place. I mean, the track crew was awesome.
What about you made mention of how the back end was going funny on Braun's car. We see that somewhat frequently, that the cars get to the point where they're so hard that they're bending in unpredictable ways. Is that the byproduct of that, or was it just did he take a funny hit, and then beyond that, are these cars getting to the point where the cookie cutter builds aren't applying anymore because they're getting so hard?
No. There's absolutely no way to explain what happened to Trace's car other than he won the Mad Dog for that feature. He won the Mad Dog for that feature because he drove like an absolute madman from the time he started to the time he ran out of car, or till the time his car stopped. He ran out of transmission. But, I mean, he hit every single thing he hit wide open. He never lifted out of that car. He never lifted out of the car to shift from forward to reverse. I mean, he can't be mad at the transmission for giving up because he never picked the pedal up. I mean, when we went green, he matted that, and he left it to the floor until he ran out of transmission.
Who else did you want to make mention of? I know there's a bunch of vendors that got on board and made all sorts of donations, and I know you had a bunch of people in addition to the track crew and the folks working security and keeping everybody safe, and you announcer Mark Elliott. You had a bunch of people working with you on the show. Who else is it that you wanted to make mention of?
This is going to take me just a minute, Chris, because I have an entire page. So
that's fine.
Stick with me for a couple minutes.
Yeah, man, no sweat.
We had a very large crew that made this whole thing possible. First and foremost, Matt Groeschel, a.k.a. Joker. He sponsored our limited weld class. He also pulled a bunch of money together for the Mad Dog donations. And way more than that, he promoted and promoted and promoted and promoted. And you couldn't get on Facebook one day for the last 2 months that there weren't 2 or 3 mentions of the Turkey Derby from Matt Groeschel to everybody everywhere. I mean, he pushed the show so hard for me. I mean, there's no way to ever thank him for everything that he did for the show. Mm-hmm. But it meant everything to us. Him and a couple other people that I'll get to basically made it happen. So I can't thank him enough. Next on that list is Mark Klein. Between Matt and Mark Klein, they took it from the small, hometown derby that it's been for years and made it the monster that it become. As soon as it was advertised that it was going to be on Derby Tees, live coverage, it blew up. I mean, with the shows that you guys cover, when guys realize they're going to get the run where everybody can see them, everybody wants to run on the television now. Yep. And we're all that way. I mean, whether it's you, me, whoever, we love to run in front of a big crowd. So anytime that it's going to go to a national crowd, everybody wants to get involved, and I can't thank them enough for making that possible. Mm-hmm. I never dreamed of having live coverage there when we first started talking about doing it, and Matt Groeschel was picking on Mark Klein and said, hey, you got to cover this, and Mark says, well, we probably could, and Matt's like, well, I'll donate my time for the the announcing side of it, and it took off from there, and it was 100 mile an hour, and it never did slow down. So I can't thank the two of those guys enough. And
he did T-shirts too, right? Mark did the shirts for that event.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Mark and Derby Tees did the shirts for that event.
Yes, they did. They did the event tees. So I was, Mark did event hoodies and T-shirts. He did driver T-shirts for, all the drivers got gifted T-shirts that did, the top 3 finishers, and a couple hard luck guys, and so on and so forth that he put T-shirts together for. Both of them made, very large donations to the fund as far as, Haley's fundraiser, and then just, promoted and promoted and promoted. I mean, like I said, anybody that's been on Facebook for the last 2 months knows what those two meant to the show. So, like I said, I can't say enough for what either of them did. Next would be Nick Glassburn with OFR, which is Old Farts Racing CNC Plasma Cutting. They made the first place trophy and the overall hard hitter of the day trophy, but what they were was big fire rings that had the design that Mark Klein used for the sweatshirts and T-shirts.
Oh, that's cool.
That was plasma cut out of a fire ring. That was just absolutely awesome. That those two things were, and sponsored the Future Icons class. Come through big with he also made a fireball that was they raffled off that brought in a ton of money because everybody wanted it. It was absolutely awesome. So again very, very big player, besides the fact that he was there the entire time playing in the mud to help me get everything ready. So that Glassburn was a huge, huge help. Jeffy's Fab Farm. Everybody knows Jeffy's Fab Farm from Canada. Hey. But he come down and vended and had his vending booth set up, but he sponsored a very nice sponsorship into he sponsored to the minis, the 108 minis, and also a nice chunk to Haley's cause. So can't thank him enough. Brandon Dixon with Wicked Rides, Wicked Promotions. He come through in a big way. He put up a very large sum of money for the hard hitter, for the Mad Dog guys, and helped me out with some equipment malfunction issues that I was having that he helped cover for. He kind of asked me not to go into details there, so I won't, just because he doesn't want everybody hounding him, and I can live with that.
Right.
Cheater Video, Robert Compton. He helped Derby Cheese sell the T-shirts, and then also had videos there, handed out videos to all the kids with the Power Wheels. You should have seen their faces line up. They just absolutely ate it up. They loved it.
That's cool.
Baron Alexander with Alexander Concessions. He had the concessions that fed everybody all day long. He does many of the big shows with Derby Icons and so on and so forth. Also made a very sizable donation to the cause at the end of the night. Can't thank him enough. Dirt and Turf is a local tractor company that supplied one of the skid loaders for the event. Howard County 4-H Fair supplied the grounds. Elwood Fire Equipment, the fire extinguishers. Tori Schutte with Derby Icons. Definitely need to give him a huge shout out. He made a very, very sizable donation to Haley's cause. Just a straight cut a check. Didn't want any recognition for it. I don't roll that way, so thanks, Tori. That meant everything to the family. I did very specifically tell the family what you did, and you'll have to pay the consequences the first time Jennifer sees you. Big A Demo Products, Adam Williams. He came through in a big way. Killer Custom Wheels donated some products for the hard-hitting awards. Craig's Vinyl donated for aggressive drivers. Scott's Derby Tire was there as a vendor. Hellbent Custom Wheels, they also were there as vendors and sponsors and Mad Dog sponsors. George High Note, graphics, vendor, sponsor, Mad Dog sponsor. B&L Coors was there as a vendor and sponsor. Old School Derby Parts, vendor sponsor, Mad Dog sponsor. Ski Inc., Jason Brodzinski. He was a sponsor of the highest placing passenger. We run passengers. So the highest placing passenger in the Pro Mod class won a gas pedal, brake pedal combination setup.
Cool. And
that was provided by Jason Brodzinski. Ron Harner with Supercharged Photos was there making some kick-ass pictures and posters for the drivers. Guys were just eating them up. I think they about wore his printer out. Brian Nerat needs no real mention on what he does for a show. He's only brought Demolition Derby to a whole new level. But we thank him for his support, of course. Killer Custom Transmissions donated a transmission to the Mad Dog winner of the Pro Mod, which went to Trace Braun, which I might have mentioned earlier, he was in desperate need of that at the end of the night. That worked out great for him. Black Flag Designs donated a roof sign with some photographics to one of our hard hit awards for the minis. Classic Trophies took real good care of us on our trophy stuff. Eckler Auto LLC was a local sponsor. And then just a real quick list of names I want to run through, just people to thank for all their help in making it possible and hands-on, whether it was helping put the track together or cleaning up trash the last day or just simply putting up with me for the last 2 months. My wife, of course, First National Bank of my wife is, the greatest sponsor in the world, whether we're talking about the cars I'm running or the shows we're putting on. Eaters Towing, Roger Kendall, Corey Koch, Micah Koch, Kevin Tinkle, the Glassburn family, Christopher Pauly, Pork Chop, Mark Elliott. I want to pause there for just a second. Mark Elliott, God love you for your announcing. You killed it. Absolutely killed it. The fact that you took time away from your family to come Saturday meant absolutely everything to us. It did not go unnoticed. We knew you had someplace you would rather be, and it meant everything to us that you took the time to come out, even though you had someplace else you would much, much rather be, and that meant everything to us as a family. Thank you so much for being there to support us. Mark Elrod, Lee Arnold, Gene Head, Jennifer Tygart, of course, Bernie and family, you know who you are, Jory Patchy, Abby Combs, my nieces, the Koch girls, Tanya Darnell and family. Extra special thanks to Marissa Schrock. She came in at the last minute and saved us on the anthem. The one who was supposed to do our national anthem ended up with strep throat.
Oh, no.
Marissa bailed us out at the last second. Angie Bowman, Barb Heinball, William Harmon, Brian Bartu, Maureen Donaldson. Thank you so much for being there at 7:30 Sunday morning cleaning up trash while I was still in bed. Doyle Gibson, Dave Getman, Dave Cummings, and Chris Hunter. I want to thank my son, Cody Koch, for putting up with all of my critique, and his other half, Brianna Myers, for being there, following him and myself around with really, really good spreadsheets and keeping everything in order. And special thanks for being perfectly okay with being a little breezy. That covers the list.
That's the list. I mean, it's a great cause. I mean, everybody coming together the way they did. We've seen a bunch of these benefit derbies here through the course of the year, and all of them go off with there's a different atmosphere at those. We had the Hog Wild show that we went to in Stoneboro. We had the San Filippo show that we went to in Morris. The shows, they just have a different feel to them when everybody's coming together for that common cause. They're not there like at the fair where they're there to win money and wreck their cars. Everybody's there for a greater cause, and it's good to see that the sport has got to that point, where it continues to evolve past that point of just being a bunch of rednecks in the field smashing up cars. They're banding together, and the sport has really developed into its own industry. When you listen to the rundown of sponsors and players, you've got graphic design, you've got T-shirts, you've got custom welding, you've got custom metal fabrication with all these different facets, and they're not just using their skills now solely for the creation of parts that are going to the demolition derby. They're using their skills to make other stuff. When you talk about the custom designed fire rings, and it's nice to see the sport heading in that way. It's an unfortunate cause. Obviously, everybody would rather have Tim with us, where they would rather have the Matheson family wouldn't like to be without. We wouldn't like to have the situation that's at hand for Jeremy Gully and his family. But it's in those times of need and those times of trial where everybody does band together. And it's good to see Tim being remembered the way that he was this weekend.
Absolutely, Chris. I couldn't agree more. It's great to see how everybody bonds together and steps up in a time of need. It's what separates, in my opinion, the Derby family apart from most every other form of competition in the world. So I couldn't agree with you more.
Kyle Polly Chris Polly, Pork Chop, just messaged me. He said, now it's time to party. What's that mean?
I believe he may be talking about somebody's New Year's bash. I'm not sure if you know anything about that or not.
I do, and he keeps telling me that you guys are talking about it. And you're talking about it, and I don't know if that means that you're talking about it, like what a dumb idea that is, or if you guys are actually talking on making the trip up.
Well, anybody that knows Pork Chop knows that he's missing precious few chances to party.
Yeah.
And because he is my resident party planner, I'd say there's a pretty good chance that you'll be stuck with us.
Well, that'd be awesome. We were just over there today and going over some final plans. We got the space mapped out for Creekside Entertainment and for the DJ. That stuff's all set aside. Jeremy Gully's got the Crown Victoria. That's all set to go for one of the door prizes. He's got a Dodge truck that's going to be given away as a door prize. Jake Sherman just sent me the pictures of the Lumina that's going to be given away as a door prize. And next week we're going to be talking with Aaron Bunce. He's going to be up here to talk about the shocker that he's building as a separate raffle. And got confirmation that we're trying to figure out how to do it. I believe Jim Eppinger is going to be working with us and Doug Medlin to get the Bolton Cradle from Canada out here for that. So that's going to be raffled off. And they're asking me what domestic beer selections we should make. And I just said, just bring all the popular ones because there's not going to be any of it left. It's all going to be gone. It's all going to be gone. Doesn't matter what you bring. But we got all that set aside. It's going to be cash bar from 7 to 8, and then from 8 to midnight, it'll be open bar. Dinner plans all put together. So the dinner buffet with the chicken marsala and the pasta. There's going to be roast beef on there. It's all coming together. It's been the first time that we did it. It was like, okay, so it went pretty well. This time I have something to compare it to, like where we were in terms of ticket sales and where we were in terms of planning and this step and that step, and I was getting a little bit nervous, but then we got past Thanksgiving just like we did last year, and everything picked right back up, and everything's trending in a very strong direction. We got people coming from all over the United States. Brad Bowman just got back to me from Utah, and he and a couple buddies were talking about trying to make the trip out. It's not going to happen because of some of the derby plans that they've got, but nonetheless, it just blows my mind that people from Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Utah, just the fact that that's so far-reaching, and they're talking about coming to New York to come and ring in the new year with us. It's cool. It means a lot. I appreciate the support, and it'd be great to see you guys. You're gonna have a great time.
Good deal. And real quick, shameless plug while we're talking parties, Chris.
Go for it.
Everybody needs to jump on Facebook when they get a chance and check out the Bash for Cash Pork Chop Party. You're not going to want to miss the Bash for Cash Party this year. Just going to put that out there for anybody who may have 4 or 5 days of their life that they don't want to remember in the next year.
He's got his own Facebook group for that now?
Check us out.
He's got his own Facebook group for that now?
What's that?
He's got his own Facebook group for that now? He's got his own Facebook page
for the Bash for Cash 2017 Camp Pork Chop and Coke.
I'll find the links to that. I'll share it on the Crash Course page so everybody can find it. That's awesome. I got people asking if you guys are coming, if the Smurf juice will be available.
We travel nowhere without Smurf juice,
oh boy.
So no concerns. The juices flow in many colors in our campgrounds, so when we come north, we'll be sure and bring the Smurf family with us.
Excellent. That's it's good to know. So Jake Sherman, he'll be happy. Josh Decker's listening at home. He just sent me the thumbs up. So, well, we sure do look forward to catching up with you soon. And I'm glad everything went so well this weekend. I mean, long list of people that you gave thanks to and gave mention of. Awesome show. Congratulations to all the winners. Heavy hitters, you know, when you drive that hard, Trace, like you said, the cars are going to bend funny just because it's so aggressive and it's so hard. There's no place for it to go. But excellent, man, and I wish you the best. Are you guys going to do more events as a group, or are you just focusing on this one and just doing the one a year?
Well, we do the county fair at the same place. We might branch out a little bit, but I'm still too busy driving to get too tied up promoting. I'm not quite old enough yet to settle down, so we'll see how that goes.
Awesome. Well, keep us posted as things develop, and as always, it's always good to talk to you.
All right, sounds good. Just real quick, and you asked me about the other shows coming up.
Yes.
July 13th is when the fair show rolls back through Greentown. We run the exact same event, basically the exact same event, the exact same rules. So should be a good time.
So you got anything left? Put it in mothballs and save it for next year.
There you go.
It'll be here before you know it. Very good. Well, Jason, man, again, congratulations on the show. Glad everything went well. Raised a lot of money for a great cause, and look forward to seeing you here in just a couple of weeks.
Very good, Chris. Thanks, man. Thanks for having us on.
You bet, Jason. We'll see you soon.
Hey, buddy. Thank you.
There goes Jason Koch, working closely with the Tim Tygart Memorial that was held over the weekend. Sounded like it was a pretty successful one. Everybody got to enjoy the live stream of that on DerbyNation.tv. Derby Tees doing that. Joker, Matt Greschel, working on the commentary on that one. I am still a little bit under the weather from earlier today. I am not feeling well whatsoever, so I think we're going to cap it here at a half hour. Glad everybody had a good Thanksgiving. We're going to jump on out of here for now. Again, next week we're going to have Aaron Savage on, talk a little about lawnmowers, and Aaron Bunce will be at least on the phone if you can't make it to the studio proper. Talk a little bit about the shocker that he's raffling off coming up here at the New Year's Eve party. You can jump online, shop.smashedempire.com, search New Year's. Tickets will come right up. You can buy tickets for the raffle car, and you can also buy tickets for the New Year's Eve party. It's $260 for a couple. That includes your overnight accommodations, dinner passes for 2 people, 2 open bar wristbands, champagne toast at midnight. Creekside Entertainment's going to be playing all night long. And again, one of the things we haven't done is talk a lot about this, but the year-end awards are going to be held in that hour before we get into dinner. So we'll be on a podcast from about 7 o'clock to about 7:30, and you'll be able to follow along with who's winning the awards for the end of the year. And then after that, we're going to cut it and transition into the evening's program because, to be honest, last year I almost missed dinner because we were so busy through the course of the night. We got a ton of apparel out there getting made. We're going to release some new items in conjunction with the New Year's Eve party on the 31st of December. So find out more about it. You can jump on the Crash Course page. It is under their events, or you can jump on the shop.smashedempire.com. There's all sorts of details there. There's also directions. There's information. There's links. So there's plenty of stuff out there. That is going to do it for this edition of Crash Course, coming to you from the Seneca Falls studios. Been nice to be home the last couple of weeks, I'll tell you that much. That's going to do it for this one. We'll see you right back here again next Monday. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you then.
The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com. The 2015 Wadena Grand Slam, Bull Lockwood Motorsports, and the 2015 Keystone National. Scioppa Racing and ScioppaRacing.com. Ultimate Derby and Blizzard Bash 2015. Demo Derby Masters. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLinks1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.